253 years ago, in these exact waters, a bunch of badass Boston brawlers threw British tea in the harbor to contest the unfair taxation being placed upon them. And I can't think of a better spot for us to talk about the tariffs and how it affects things in FPV. And I'm not talking about this bullshit skirting around what we don't want to talk about because it's not good for our YouTube channels. I want to talk about what's really happening and make sure we all understand, even if it causes me to fail here. I'm Kmart FPV, let's check it out. For those of you who just in case you're catching up a little bit here and don't know what tariffs are, don't worry about it. They're confusing and our president didn't know what they did either. Tariffs are a tax paid by American importers when we bring in goods provided by another country with a tariff inflicted on. Inflicted? Impacted? Doesn't matter. So if I buy a $50 flight controller from a manufacturer in China and they add a 10% tax, I'm gonna do easy math here because I'm bad at this, right? I now have to pay $55, right? That is 10%. I'm gonna have to pay $55 for the same flight controller. Now I, as the importer, have now got to sell that to retailers, and now the retailers have to figure out whether or not they're going to increase the prices by 10% or to eat that 10% difference. Now I ask you, would you rather make money or lose money? And if you're going down the same thought process as I am, your next question is probably something along the lines of, then what the fuck are tariffs for? Why would anybody use them? Let's say America and Canada both produce lumber. An American consumer now has a choice whether or not to buy American lumber or Canadian lumber. So if the American government were to place a tariff on Canadian lumber, the price would then be deferred onto the customer and Americans would have incentive to buy the American lumber. And this worked out really well, especially at the end of World War I or World War II, where we were a regionalized economy. But we don't function in a regional economy. We are part of a global economy that takes trade in a very, very different way. We don't have to make crappy cocaine here. We can get great stuff from Colombia, and they don't have to make crappy porn there because we got great porn here that we'll gladly share to you. And this international trade is just a good thing. So now we have this problem where a country that we've been terribly dependent on for microchips and electronics is now holding monopoly on something we need. And this tariff situation, which might seem like a way to instigate this growth in the American ability to compete with China at the computer chips and circuit boards, is only punishing the American people who need these things in their everyday items. So tariffs, kind of mid on them in general. You could use them in a structural way to really drive up American business in areas that we cannot trade from. But at the same time, in our global market, I don't see anything wrong with us producing great porn and Colombia producing great cocaine. Either way, there's blow involved. So this is the point in the video in which I'm going to get a little bit political, and that's a suicide note for a lot of YouTube channels, but I've had a good run. If our viewpoints are too separate that you believe you can't enjoy my content, that's okay. Go ahead and unsubscribe, go find more videos. It's the internet, you'll find something that you like, and I do truly wish you the best. But I think this needs to be said, so let's get it out there for real. You see, these tariffs are not the result of a global pandemic or a breakout of nuclear war. These tariffs are the result of one politician with an assload of power who doesn't know what he's doing. So now Donald Trump gets into office and he signs off all of these tariffs thinking it's a way for him to tax other countries, not realizing that that's coming right back on the American consumer. And this is the worst part of it. Donald Trump has never had to worry about the price of anything. So if a price increases on anything the man buys, it doesn't matter. He's not looking at the fucking price tag either. So the tariffs don't affect him. You see, Donald Trump at this point is a mean, fat kid on an anthill with a magnifying glass, and where are the damn ants? And everybody in the global economy that is finding this chaos to happen is looking at him for what he's going to do next. Is he going to write that tariff? Is he going to put a block in? How long is that block going to be? Is he going to make exceptions in that tariff? And it doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is that fat kid on the anthill gets to be the center of attention, and that fucking sucks. I can't film here, right? There's no way my voice is gonna cut through that wind, even if I walk backward like an idiot. Hey, did you guys happen to catch the Fly Tribe magazine January 2024 edition? In there's a great article by some jackass that talks about the surmountable entry into FPV. And one of the points that I bring up there, and I stand by even today, is that a high schooler on a minimum wage budget is not going to be able to afford not just the initial cost of FPV, but maintenance and travel and the things that are associated with it. And that's a huge problem. Now with these tariffs, a kid has no shot in getting a drone. And that's going to prohibit a lot of really exciting new talent coming to the hobby. For those of us us who do this as a side hobby, yeah, we could probably still be okay, but I'm not gonna fly as hard as I used to, knowing that a flight controller is $200. Sadly, we can't do much more than to contact our politician. Support small FPV companies. I have my 5 favorites linked down below. If you have old working gear, let's put it on the used market. Let's create a place for people to get gear and get these kids started in FPV if they want to. At the end of the day, somebody needs to smack the fat kid off the anthill and take the magnifying glass away from him. But until then, us pointing fingers at each other at FPV companies that are really just trying to get more people to fly, that's not going to be good for us. Either way, if you choose to unsubscribe because of my viewpoints, I completely understand. I do truly wish you the best. For those of you who have been with me in the past and are going to stick around, I appreciate you. Please like, subscribe, and check out this video. It's a cool one too. Peace.